like that. That's why I'm asking, nothing else. Okay, 8 people have joined today's meeting, but day by day, number of students are reducing. Okay, not an issue. We are joined today. We'll see a very important syllabus today we are going to cover. That is last part of our theory of machines, static force analysis. Okay, so now we'll quickly look over the points which we have covered of the syllabus. Okay. Hmm. So our today's lecture will be based on static force analysis. Okay, that is the first point of our unit number 6. And see, every other point is covered, and now we are um, trying to cover the last point of our theory of machines, that is static force analysis. Okay, so you can see the syllabus. Out of this syllabus, see, first is static force analysis of slider crank mechanism, that actually we are going to cover today, and one more lecture will take for this. Okay, theory of compound pendulum, that we have already discussed a lot about this. Bifilar suspension method, that we have seen. Two strings are being used to hang a straight body to find out mass moment of inertia and radius of gyration. Then trifilar suspension method is used to calculate again the same mass moment of inertia and radius of gyration, but of a disk. Okay, irregular shaped disk maybe. Then dynamical equivalent to mass system, that we have seen. So we have solved some problems also on this. So in dynamic equivalent to mass system, what we do? We find out M1, M2 and L1, L2. Then correction couple we have seen. If suppose it is not possible to place the two masses at the distances L1 and L2, okay, which will make the system dynamically equivalent. In that case, what we'll do? We'll place the masses at arbitrary distances and we'll find out the correction couple. Okay, that also we had seen. Then dynamic force analysis of slider crank mechanism. In the last lecture only we have seen that. Okay, dynamic force analysis. In that we have seen different forces in the slider crank mechanism, like piston effort that we had seen, then force along the connecting rod that we had seen, then Ft, that is the traction force we have seen, bearing force we have seen. Okay, so actually I had given one government examination in that only the names of forces were asked which are acted in the dynamic force analysis. So that question was there in the examination. So therefore, that point of view also, you must take it very carefully. Which kind of forces are there? What is the direction of those forces? Okay. So in this syllabus, what I want to mention over here, that every other point is covered. Only this first point is remaining now, right? Static force analysis. So today we are going to cover the first point, that is static force analysis. So you must be wondering that why I'm taking this last one. Okay, but now you will understand why I am taking this as last point of the syllabus. Okay, now you will understand what is the importance of the static force. You must do this after dynamic force analysis. Okay, you will understand now why. So we'll start with the definition of static force analysis or static analysis of mechanisms. So what we do in the static force analysis, actually we want to make the mechanism static equilibrium. Okay. So what is the meaning of static equilibrium? Meaning is that the total sum of forces in the system will be zero, and the total sum of moments in the system will be zero. Okay, that is nothing but the static condition. Okay, so static force analysis means what? Then if some forces are acting in the system, then we have to apply some other forces and moments in the system such that the total system will be in static equilibrium. Okay, so that is actually we have to do in this particular part, static force analysis of slider crank mechanism. Okay, so you must be understanding static means when the force and movements or total sum of forces and total sum of movements is zero. Okay, so but we know that it is not the case always in the system. Like suppose a body is there and it is acted upon by different forces. Let us say this is F1, F2, say this F3. These forces are there. Then we have to apply such a force, so that the summation of these three forces algebraic sum of these three forces will be equal to this force. So what will happen then? It means that now the body will be in equilibrium because see, we are applying the force in the opposite direction. This is our force. This is our force. We have applied this force, and these forces were present in the system. So when we apply this force, the body will be in static equilibrium. But now only forces are now balanced. But what about the moment? That also we have to balance. So then again we'll go for the summation of moments. So we'll find out moment of each force, and then we'll apply. Let us say we get the moment clockwise because of these three forces. Okay, then we'll apply the force, the moment in the opposite direction. Okay, with same magnitude. So therefore, then what will happen? Then this body will be in static equilibrium. Okay, so finding this movement and finding this force is nothing but our static force analysis of slider or mechanism. And actually we are going to see for slider crank. Okay, so finding movement and force is nothing but the finding the static or doing the static force analysis. Okay, so you must be understanding now. So you can see here static is a branch of mechanics that is concerned with the analysis of loads, force and torque or movement acting on physical system that do not experience any acceleration. Okay, any or an acceleration. Okay, it means that the acceleration is zero. Okay, so to make this acceleration zero, summation of f must be equal to zero. Summation of f must be equal to zero, and summation of m, that is moment, must also be zero to make acceleration zero. Okay, but rather are in a static equilibrium with their environment, obviously. Okay, with the environment, with respect to environment, the acceleration must be zero, means it is not going to move, it will be in static equilibrium. So summation f equal to zero, summation m equal to zero. Okay, so this is a static force. So only definition we have seen. The next part is very interesting, we'll understand then. Very interesting. See, to understand the concept of static force analysis or static equilibrium, we must first of all know the D'Alembert's principle. This is very, very important. Okay, this is another important part of your syllabus, D'Alembert's principle. Okay, so what is this? Hmm? So try to understand this D'Alembert's principles. What this person is saying, D'Alembert is a scientist. What he is saying, if there is a body, okay, which is acted upon by different forces, say this force is there, this one force. So there are, let us say there are many forces acting upon a body. So what will happen to this body if the forces are acted? Then this body will have acceleration, obviously, because body is trying to move. Okay, body will have acceleration. So now what we have to do here, what we have to assume, a force. Okay, now this is our assumption, or this is hypothetical force. Then assume a hypothetical force which is making this body equilibrium or the static. Okay, so now we'll elaborate this thing, what I want to say to you. See, so what we are considering, there are different forces, 1 2 3 4 and 5. Let us say there are 5 forces acting on the body. So body will try to move, it means that it is in it will try to get the acceleration. So we'll assume one force, hypothetical force, such that this force will make the system equilibrium. Okay, it means that this force will act in the opposite to the resultant of this 5. Okay, resultant of this 5, it will act opposite to the resultant of this 5. Okay, it means that in this case we will convert these 5 forces into one. Okay, it means that we are going to find out the resultant of it. Let us say this is the resultant force, then we'll apply an opposite force. Okay, we are going to apply an opposite force so that the body will be in equilibrium and it will not possess any acceleration. Okay, so this condition is shown by this particular person, D'Alembert. Okay, and then he has then put this in word form. Word form means what? That becomes the principle. See, this is very simple. You know, if the body is moving with a certain acceleration which was acted upon by forces, then according to Newton's second law, F equal to ma. So this is that. According to Newton's second law, F equal to ma. So when the forces are acting, then the body will possess the acceleration ma. Okay, but what we are going to do to make this system equilibrium, we are going to apply the opposite force. We are going to apply the opposite force. Not apply, actually, this is the hypothetical force. So for example, like suppose you have cupboard, right? Big cupboard in your house. Okay, now if you see, if you want to move this cupboard, okay, if you want to move this cupboard, so let us say two or three people from your home is trying to push this cupboard. So it means that two three forces are there. Okay, now let us assume that the cupboard is not still moving. Okay, even though you are applying the force, it means that what is happening there. So it means that obviously there is a hypothetical force applied in the system. Getting? So let us say one person from your home, second person from your home is applying a push force to this cupboard, to this cupboard. Still the cupboard is not moving. It means that, so can you see the opposite force? We cannot see. You cannot see the force. Okay. But there is a force. That force is nothing but your hypothetical force. Okay. So that hypothetical force means what? Newton's second law, obviously. So that is F equal to ma. Now what is m? M is the mass of this particular cupboard, and a is acceleration. It means that acceleration is also applied in the opposite direction. This is said by this D'Alembert, and that is called as D'Alembert principle. Okay, so it means that when you are applying the force to a particular body, certain amount of force is also acted in the opposite direction, and that is always equal to m into a. Okay, that is always equal to m into a. That's why you will get this second equation, F minus ma equal to 0. It means that if the force, the resultant force is applied from this direction, okay, then another force will be acted in the opposite direction, that is equal to ma. Okay, that is not equal to f, but that is equal to ma. So that is minus, okay, because in the opposite direction. So summation of these two, f plus in bracket minus ma equal to 0. So this is given by this equation. Okay, f minus ma is equal to 0. This is called as D'Alembert principle. Okay, if you see, if you read this statement, it will be the same. If the quantity minus ma be treated as a force, okay, if minus ma is treated as a force, equal, opposite, and with the same line of action as the resultant force F. See, this is the resultant force F of all these forces, and opposite to that is minus ma. Okay, this is given by this statement. The resultant force F, okay, and include this force with the system of forces of which F is a resultant. So we have to include all the forces, F also minus ma also. Then the system will be in equilibrium, obviously, because ma was opposite to F and equal. Then the complete system of the forces will be in equilibrium. This principle is known as D'Alembert's principle. Okay, so it means that this D'Alembert principle depends upon which law of Newton? Second law. Okay, so Newton's second law corollary nothing is nothing but your D'Alembert principle simply. Okay, the equal and opposite forces, force minus ma is known as the reverse effective force or the inertia force. Okay, so actually you can see this ma is because of Newton's second law, as well as because of this inertia of this cupboard. Okay, so you are trying to force this or you are trying to push the cupboard. Because of the inertia of the cupboard is not going to move. Cupboard is in equilibrium because of inertia force. It means that this minus ma is nothing but your inertia force. Already we have seen in dynamic force analysis also, Fy was equal to m omega square r in bracket cos theta plus cos 2 theta upon n. That equation we had seen. Okay, that is Fi. It means that Fi is always equal to mass into acceleration. So in the previous section in dynamic force analysis, what we have seen, mr into omega r, that we had seen, right? Reciprocating. Okay, m omega uh, square r. Okay, that equation actually we had seen. So Fi is always equal to m into acceleration. Fi is always equal to m into acceleration. So it means that this ma is also equal to Fi, that is inertia force. Okay, so therefore then you will get the equation F minus Fi equal to 0. Okay, so therefore finally you will get the equation from D'Alembert's principle, F minus Fi equals to 0. This is the final equation of D'Alembert principle. Okay, F minus Fi equal to 0. So this is referred to be Fi, inertia force. Okay, so to understand again, now this is that only. So in static force analysis, we have only one principle, that is D'Alembert principle. On the basis of this principle, we are going to directly solve very important and very complex problems very easily. Okay, so just going into just before going into the problems, we'll try to understand one more concept here. Let us say there are some bodies. 1 minute. Okay, so we'll record this. Okay, so let us assume that there is one link, second link, okay, maybe third link. There are many, maybe many links. Okay, so how to use this D'Alembert principle to find out the torques, forces required to keep the system in equilibrium. Okay, so we are going to use D'Alembert principle to find out the torque, forces to make the system equilibrium. Okay, not dynamical equilibrium. Okay, but only equilibrium, static equilibrium. Okay, so then how to find out that then? Using this principle F equal to ma or F minus ma equal to 0. You can see, suppose this is the crank. Okay, suppose this is the crank. So when it is rotating, what will happen? This will exert a force, right, on the pin of the second link. Okay, so some force will go here. Then again this link will then apply force from the second link to third link. Okay, again on this pin there will be force. In the same way, the force will be migrated along the links. Okay, but you know, if the system is in equilibrium, or you want to make the system equilibrium, let us say this is another fixed link. Okay, so now this mechanism is moving. Again one more force will be here. Okay, suppose here you want to find out the force and the torque to make the system static equilibrium. What will you do? Then we'll consider every point on which the forces are acting. Consider every point on which the forces are acting, and then draw system of forces. Okay, then draw system of forces. Let us say if you consider this particular point, say this A point. So let us say this is the A point. Then you know here how many forces? One force which is exerted by this link on this link. So in this direction, let us say this is the direction. Second is from this link on this link, say this direction. Okay, then we are going to consider this as static equilibrium. Equate only. Okay, and draw force vectors. Draw force vector like this: one direction, second direction. Magnitude must be known. Then the third line will be your resultant that way. Okay. अं, अरे कोणीतरी बहुतेक टीव्हीचा आवाज खूप मोठा केलाय. थोडा टीव्हीचा आवाज कमी करा किंवा थोडं लांब जाऊन बसा तुम्ही. Okay, so now we'll solve. Okay, it seems that minus m equal to 0. Okay, so this is nothing but the Alembert's principle. So statement is also given already. In the last lecture we have read this statement also. Okay, and we have discussed also. Okay, a lot. On the basis of this D'Alembert's principle, we have to solve some problems. So here we are going to solve two important problems. Okay, so here we'll start with solving the two problems. Okay, um, figure shows a slider crank mechanism in which the piston acting is piston effort acting is 2 kilonewton, OA equal to 100. Okay, so figure is given. So this is the figure which is given here. Okay, so we can see this is the crank OA. The length is given 100. Connecting rod AB equal to 450 mm. Crank angle is given 120. So crank angle means what? This angle. Okay, crank angle means this angle. 120. This is 120 degree. This is given to you. Okay. Then what is asked in the problem to find out the torque on the crank for static equilibrium. So here the torque we want to find out here. Okay, at the end of this crank. So whatever force will be here, that is multiplied by some distance. We'll see. Okay, which distance we have to take. Okay, but it is important to find out force over here. Okay, force exerted by crank on the connecting rod, that is important now. Okay, and direction is also important in this case. Okay, so okay, what you do, all of you mute your audio because I think some unnecessary noise is coming. So please mute your audio now. Okay. So this is 120 degree, that is also given. So now we'll solve this problem. So understand this figure now. This is 120 degree. OA length is given. AB length is given. Okay. And this force is given. See, this force, piston effort is given. That is, you can see here, that is 2 kilonewton or 2000 Newton given. Okay, 2 kilonewton. So first step is to give the names to the links. Okay, first step is to give the names. So let us say fixed link is link number 1, crank is 2, connecting rod is 3, and piston is 4. Okay, and then we'll write the forces exerted by each link on each other link. Okay, on other links by their names. Like if the link 1 is exerting force on the link number 2, then it will be F12. Second is exerting force on the third. See, this is second link exerting force on the third. That is F23. See here. Third link is exerting the force on the link number 4 is F34. In the reverse way also, 4 is exerting force on the 3, that is F43. 3 on 2, F32. Uh, link number 1, that is fixed link, is also exerting some force on the link number 4 because of its motion. That is F14, or in the reverse way, it is F41. Okay. So that way, we have to now mention the forces in the figure. Okay. Now we'll solve the problem. So already we have given the name. How to solve this problem? See, in such problems, when you are doing static analysis, we have to consider each point, you can say the joint between two links. Okay. Say link number 1 and 4, link number 3 and 4, 2 and 3. Okay, 2 and 1. Some points are very important, some points are necessary, some points are not necessary, like this. Link number 1, F12. F12, obviously it is 0 because no force is exerting, because now see, this is the fixed link, that way. Okay, and that is not so important. But here we can see, let us consider this particular point, okay, this point here, that is the pin of the piston, of which is connecting rod with the piston. Okay, on this pin, how many forces are there, that we have to now see. Okay, you can see already one force is given 2 kilonewton, that is piston effort. So some part will go here. Obviously already we have seen in the dynamic force analysis, some part will go here and some part will go here. Okay, so perpendicular to this piston effort, that already we have seen. Just we have to name these forces. So always remember, at the center of piston, there are always three forces. One is your Fn, that is normal force. Second one is piston effort, and third one is force along connecting rod. Okay, just give the names properly. Okay, you can see here. Suppose if you're considering this force, then what name you can give? F14. Okay, because this is the force given by number 1 to 4. Okay, force exerted by 1 on 4. Then here, one force will be here, obviously, or you can give the reverse direction also. So in solving such problems, what you do, you draw these points separately. Let us say this is your first point. This is what? This is center of, or this is the gudgeon pin. Okay, that is joining the piston and the connecting rod. Okay, so on this there are three forces. You can draw this separately. This force, and this force. So only three forces are there. So this is your piston effort, force along connecting rod, and this is the force perpendicular to the line of stroke of the piston. Okay, so then you can give the name. Yeah, this is your F14, right? So this is FP, that is piston effort, and this is your F. So as you are giving this direction, so 3 on 4. So F34 you can write here, F34. Okay. So then when you draw this figure, then simply what you have to do in the next step, draw the vector polygon. Okay, vector polygon for these forces. Only three forces are there. Okay, so out of these three forces, direction and magnitude of this force is known. FP force is known. Okay, direction as well as magnitude. Direction is this horizontal towards left, and magnitude is 2 kilonewton, that is 2000 Newton. Okay, so therefore when you draw the vector polygon, take a proper scale. Okay, take a proper scale and draw these forces. So first of all we'll take this fp. The magnitude of fp is 2 kilonewton and direction is horizontal. So we'll start from a point. Let us say this point is o. Okay, start from any point o and draw a line parallel to this fp, one force. Okay, and then give the magnitude equals to the magnitude of the force. Okay, so this is your 2 kilonewton or 2000 newton. So you have to take a proper scale. You have to take a proper scale. Let us say 1 centimeter equal to 1000 kilonewton. Then take 10 centimeters here. Okay, for representing 20 or 2000 newton. Okay, so then at this point you will get this fp. So this point will represent fp from 0. So this is the direction. Okay, and this is the magnitude. Okay, go to second force. What is second force? Maybe this or this. Any force you can take. Directions are now known. Directions are known, but magnitudes are not known. Mind, we have to find out the magnitudes. So let us consider second force as F14. So this is direction. Okay, this is the direction, right? And the third force, see, only direction is known, magnitude is not known. So then what we'll do? We'll draw only this vector. Okay, we'll draw only this vector. Okay, then the third force is F34. Again, its direction is known, but magnitude is not known. So direction means what? Parallel to this line or parallel to this line or this third link. Okay, so therefore then we'll copy this direction with the help of your roll and draw. Okay, so we'll then properly take this direction in roll and draw, then roll towards this. Okay, and then match with this O point and then draw parallel line this way. Okay, so therefore this is your point where these two lines are intersecting. It means that your F14 will be equal to this. F14 will be equal to this. Okay, and your what is that? F34 will be this. Okay, F14 will be this and F34 will be this. Okay, so when you measure these distances, already we have taken a proper scale. So therefore we have to measure this distance and we have to measure this distance. Okay, but now for this case we are interested in F34. You can measure this also, but now we are interested in F34. Measure this distance, multiply by scale, you will get some value. Okay, and that value is your magnitude of F34 force. So we'll get this F34 when you draw this with a proper scale. This value as, I think already I mentioned the solution for this, right? This value equal to 2.04 kilonewton or 2040 newton. 2040 newton you will get. Okay, when you measure this. So once you get F34, you know, this was your F34, this is F34, or this is F34, equal to 2040 newton. Okay, then go to second point. After this point, go to second point. So second point is here, A point. So therefore take that A point here. Okay, so this is your A point, right? Then see which forces are there at this A point. So always remember, at this point there are only two forces. Which are those? One is this force. See, this is that force. Okay, which is along the connecting rod. That is your F34. Already we have mentioned over here. Okay, F34. The same force will be along the connecting rod. Okay, and second force is the force exerted by 2 on 3. Okay, now problem is that what is the direction of the force F23? Okay, this is the problem. See, when any other force is absent on the connecting rod, then the force exerted by 2 on 3 will be in the same direction. Okay, hey Lakshar kya? Okay, so this is very important. When any other force on the connecting rod is absent, then always remember that the direction of force from 2 on 3 will be in the same direction. Okay, so now this is your F34. Okay, so now here what you want, see the, okay, sorry, this F34 is on this point. So therefore, on this A point, it will be 4, 3. Same force, only we have to write it in a reverse way. Okay, only we have to write in reverse way. So sorry for that. It must be in the reverse way. Okay, direction must be reverse because it is on the A. Okay, so this must be the direction F3. It must be F43 now. Okay, which will be equal to F34, obviously, which is equal to F34. And this is point A. This is point A. Okay, so when you draw this, then you will understand the force exerted by 2 on 3 is in the same direction, in the opposite direction. So this is F23. So therefore, F23 equal to F34. Or you can write down this equation, F23 is always equal to F, first of all, we'll write 43, which is equal to F34. Okay, it's equal to F34. Okay, and already we have got the value of F34, that is 2040 Newton. So therefore, all these three forces are equal. It means that at this point, there is only the force which is equal to the all the forces which is along that link, that is F34 equal to F43 equal to F233. Okay, and the magnitude you're getting is 2040 Newton. So mention over here that force. Okay, 2040 Newton. It means that the crank is exerting 2040 Newton on the connecting rod. This is the meaning. Okay. Then finally, what you have to find out the torque. How to find out the torque? Torque is nothing but the force into perpendicular distance. But perpendicular distance from what? Perpendicular distance from what? From the center of crank. Okay. From the center of crank. It means that then we have to find out the perpendicular distance of this link from the crank. It means that then from this crank, draw a perpendicular to this link. Okay. And measure this distance. Okay. Or simply you can draw a line parallel to this. You can show this force here also. Okay, and then measure the distance between these two parallel lines. It's the same. Okay, so you will get this distance, measure with your scale. You must have taken a proper scale, multiply by that scale, so you will get the distance. Let us say that distance is h. So therefore finally you will get T equal to F23 into h. F23 into h. Okay, and put these values here. So you know F23 equal to 2040 Newton, and h you get I think it is something around 100 mm. Okay, 100 mm you are going to get, right? This is as per my solution. Okay, so you also solve this problem so that then you will get the exact one. Okay, this is 2040 into this. So finally you will get answer around this value. Okay, like 153 kilonewton mm. 153 Newton mm or kilonewton. So you check out kilonewton mm. Okay. So unit is also important. You will get this value T. And this was our aim. This was our aim to find out. This is the solution. Now, if you are in doubt, you can now raise your hand. You can ask the question for this problem, so that then we can go to the next problem shortly. Any doubt? Yes. Any doubt, Shubham, Madhuri?
No, sir.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Should we move towards next problem then?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. So next problem is important. This was very simple problem. Okay. So we'll see one more problem which will have some other forces also in the system. Okay. So now this is the problem. Okay. So you can see the problem. Figure shows a slider crank mechanism in which the piston effort is it is same 2000 Newton or 2 kilonewton. AB is given 300, BC is given 600. Now what is use of this dimension? The use of this dimension is to find out the perpendicular distance. Okay. Then crank angle is 45. It is given. Crank angle 45 degree. Okay. Here it is 40. In previous problem it was 120 degree. And distance on connecting rod BD equal to 200 mm. So here this distance is given, BD equal to 200 mm. Okay. Find the torque on crank for static equilibrium. right? So here one more force is given, 800 Newton, which is applied at 60 degree with connecting rod at point D, which is 200 away from the point B. So one more force is there in the picture. So you can see now there are these forces, 2 kilonewton piston effort. Okay. And on this point, one more force is there, 800 Newton. So try to understand first of all, what is the effect of this force in such problems in static force analysis. The effect of such forces is that it alters it alters the direction of the force F23. Okay, remember, it alters the direction of force F23. In previous problem we have seen the direction of force F23 was exactly same as that of your F34 or F43, right? But here, because of this force, what will happen? It changes the direction of F23. This is only the difference. Okay, now we'll see the solution. What is the solution? How to solve this problem? Okay, so again, you see, this is your the configuration given. In the same way, in the last problem, we have to start with this particular point. Okay, crank pin. Let us consider that crank pin here. You know there are forces. Now, see, this is force F14, right? This is F14. Then this is your piston effort, that is Fp. You already know that. And this is the force which is parallel to the connecting rod. Now this is F34. F, we are given this direction, so F34. Okay, so three forces are there. In the same way, again draw the force polygon for this particular point. Okay, this particular point. So force polygon. So already Fp is given. So start with any point O, 0 point you can say. Then draw Fp equal to 2 kilonewton or 2000 Newton. Okay, say this is your 2000 Newton, and here at this point you will get the Fp. Let me give any name, A point, B point, that way. Okay, so let us say it as Fp. Okay, then second force is F1 force. So draw this F1 force here. We don't know the magnitude. Okay, only we know the direction. This way, let us say. Okay, third force is F34. Again, we know only direction and not the magnitude. Again, we will copy this direction from this figure. Okay, by matching the roll and draw. Then move your roll and draw here, and then draw a line parallel to BC link. Okay, from point O. So this will intersect the vertical line over here. So therefore, this is your F14, and this is your F23. Sorry, F34. Sorry, F34 is over here, and this is direction. Okay, so this is F34. Now again, we are interested in F34, right? We can calculate this also if it is asked in the problem. But now we are interested in F34. So then we can easily find out this F34 by measuring this distance. So measure this distance. Okay, measure this distance and multiply by your scale. So then this force you will get equals to 2100 Newton. Okay, now you solve this problem and try to get the values and cross check over with these particular values. Okay, so 2100 Newton, F34 you will get around this value. This is not very exact. Okay, so that depends upon your scale and the accuracy with which you are actually drawing this figure. Okay, so F34 you will get as 2100 Newton, right? So once you get this 34, then you can mention over here 34, that is 2100 Newton. Then go to next point. Now next point is what? Actually, in previous problem we have taken this B point, okay, or instead of that B, it was A. But now we have one more point over here, right? So take this point then, D point. Okay, take this point D in this kind of problems. So next point is D, and then again draw all those forces. Okay, you know in a D point, which forces are there? You know this is what. Okay, so can you tell me what is this force? Parallel to BC, parallel to BC. So can you give the name? F, it must be F43. Yes, correct. F43 rather than 34, because direction is reversed. Okay. Then this is at 60 degree. This force is your say 800 Newton. Okay, 800 Newton. So you can give the name or you can write directly as it is, no problem at all. So 800 Newton is here. Okay. So then now we have to find out direction of this force, because now because of this 800 Newton, direction of F23 will be altered. Already I mentioned. Okay, this direction will be altered. That we have to find out. This is important in such problems. Okay, let's remember. So then what we'll do now, already we have the direction and magnitude of this force, direction of magnitude of this force also. So we can find out the third direction and magnitude. Okay, so we know only third force is there. Only three forces are there on this point. Okay, and arbitrarily we can draw this. We know this is not the exact direction, but just to mention. Okay, one more force will be here. That will be your F23. This is your F23. Okay. Okay. Then draw force vectors. Okay. So we'll start with any force we can start with, which the direction is known. So let us take another point. Say this O1. Okay. So we'll draw F43. So copy this direction with roll and draw parallel line. Okay, magnitude is also known. F43 is equal to F34, same 2100. Only this is the direction. Okay, only this is the direction. So taking a proper scale will mark this point. Okay, taking a proper scale will mark this point. Okay, second force is 800 Newton. You know this is the direction. From this line again we'll draw 800 with the same scale. Somewhere you will get this point. It means that when you join this and this, what will get? What will get here? F23, right? This will be your F23. This was your F43, and this was your 800 Newton force. Getting? This was your 800 Newton force. So once you get this F23, so copy this direction now. Okay. So you can find out its magnitude also. F23. F23 is equal to this distance into the scale we have taken over here. So you will get F23 equal to the solution I have is 2700 Newton. Okay. 2700 Newton. The value something around this 2700 will get. So then copy this direction and paste over here. It may be along this BC, it may not be also. Okay, it is not required that this force must be along with this BC. Okay, that is not the compulsory one. So this direction may be any other direction also. Okay, this is F23. Getting this is F23. Then draw this line like this, and then find out perpendicular distance of F23. So perpendicular distance you will get somewhere here, right? Okay, measure this distance, it will be h. So have you understood direction of F23? Using this particular figure you will get the direction of F23 and magnitude as well. So 2700 into this h will be your torque. So finally you have to find out this torque. So T will be equal to this 2700 into h into this h. Okay, and this h you are getting as I think again 230 mm. Actually 230 mm you are going to get. Okay, so when you put this value for this h equal to 230 around, I don't know exact value, but around 230 value, you will get this T around 621 620 no, this is not point, 621 Newton meter. The solution is around 621 Newton meter. This is the value of T. Okay, so this is the solution. So what difference you have observed here in this problem? Only this figure. Okay, so one more point you have to consider: three forces, two magnitudes and directions are known, so we can find out third. The third one is F23, and we have to mention this F23 over here. Find out perpendicular distance. So F23 into this perpendicular distance is nothing but your T. That is the solution. Okay. So for today's lecture, my aim was to solve these two problems for you. So I have solved these two problems. If you have any doubt, you can now ask me questions.
सर बीडीसी एक्सटेंड केला का यासाठी
BDC कशासाठी H साठी नाही नाही नो 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 F23 फ्रॉम दिस फिगर बघा ही फिगर लक्षात येते
ओके
800 न्यूटन F43 याच्यामध्ये ही जी थर्ड आहे ती तुमचं काय असणार आहे इट इज 100% F23 so we have taken this direction and copied over here this is the direction of F23 the direction of F23 is altered because of this 800 Newton in the previous problem we have seen it was not altered but because of this force, it is now altered. Okay, we have not extended this BC. This force is different, and then we have found this perpendicular distance. Any other doubt? Any other doubt?